What is a surface or thickness planer? In its simplest definition, it is a woodworking tool that will give you a nice smooth surface and will also cut all your boards to a uniform thickness. I should note that a planer works best when cutting with the grain. Cutting against the grain can give you undesirable results. Now, to answer if you need one, let me tell you what I use mine for, and you can decide if this is a tool that would benefit you as a woodworker. First of all, I tend to collect a lot of reclaimed lumber. So I like to run all the pieces of my project that I am working on through my planer to remove the unsightly wood and create a uniform thickness for all the lumber for that project. You will quickly notice that once you have removed the surface of this wood, you will still have a very nice and usable board to work with. You will also notice that under the surface, your wood will have a beautiful country or rustic look to it. This aged appearance on your project tends to be more sought after if you are planning to sell or gift your projects. One very important thing to note is make sure you check reclaimed wood thoroughly for nails or screws. Once your blades hit a metal fastener of any type, they will need to be replaced. Another thing I use a planer for is to make custom 3-inch table legs. I know that it is quick and easy to make table legs using a 4x4, and in some cases it is necessary to do it that way, like trestle tables and country coffee tables. But in other circumstances, a 4x4 leg just looks too bulky on standard everyday tables. In this case, I like to make custom 3-inch legs. I do this by ripping a 2x4 to 3 inches and gluing the flat sides together. It is not always guaranteed after these legs dry that they will be perfectly square on all sides. In this scenario, I will run them through my planer to get a perfect uniform thickness on all 4 legs. The next great use for a planer is making cutting boards. If this is your niche, a planer will be a very welcome addition. After gluing up your pieces, you will have some that are not flat. A couple shallow passes through the planer will fix this in a hurry. Unless, of course, you are making end grain cutting boards. In this scenario, you may not want to pass this through a planer, as the blades will tend to grab the grains and rip them out. In this case, you may want to look at sanding drums, but be ready for a hefty price tag. Lastly, tabletops. It is vitally important that when making a tabletop, you get the smoothest surface you can possibly create. With that said, whether I'm using reclaimed or new wood, I will run them through my planer. It is not always a guarantee that the wood you purchase has the exact same thickness that the other board you bought. So you will need a planer to fix this. You will notice that when you pass one piece through, it barely cuts anything. But when you pass the next piece through, sawdust is flying. Never trust the thickness of new wood to be perfect when you are making a tabletop. I am sure that there are more ways to utilize a thickness planer, but these are the areas where mine gets a workout. Now, let me tell you a very common problem you may encounter, and feel free to Google this. I am thinking that they are using a grayback gorilla to fasten down the screws that hold the blades in place. A problem that I ran into is when I tried to back the screws out, they are in there so tightly that the heads of multiple screws stripped out. Because this planer was under warranty, I contacted the company and they gave me a number to the nearest authorized repair shop. When I contacted them, they had told me to box it up and send it in with a prepaid shipping label. I had asked them when I would have it back, and they said 2 weeks. After 2 weeks had passed, I called the repair shop, and my tool had not even been checked in yet. Needless to say, after a month, a new planer did arrive. Now, I am not downing the process, and I was glad to have it fixed, but that was a huge dip into the orders that I needed to fill. Needless to say, my customers were very understanding. After I received the new one, the first thing I did was back the screws out to put some anti-seize paste on them. Unfortunately, 2 heads stripped out when I tried to remove them. I could not go another 4 weeks without my planer, so this is what I did. I ordered a new replacement screw kit from Amazon, and I used a Dremel with a small grinder bit on it and removed the heads completely from these screws. Once the heads were off and the blades were removed, the remaining piece of the screw came out very easily. I replaced all the screws with some anti-seize paste on them, and I haven't had any problems removing the screws since. If you want my recommendation, I would say that the DeWalt 734 is an excellent planer for a DIYer. If you want a little more bang for your buck, take a look at the DeWalt 735. Both models have the same motor, but the 735 has a slightly wider cutting area and a 2-speed control for finer cuts. This could be very beneficial when it comes to surfacing hardwoods or tabletops. Well, there you have it. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments section, and I will get to them as soon as I can. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to be notified of new episodes as they become available. You can support my online gaming addiction by making a donation to my channel. Link will be in the description. If you are just learning the woodworking hobby, check out my Woodworking for Beginners video series. Until next time, keep it safe.